All right, moving on to the next Patreon request, and this one comes from uh, John McKinney. Sorry, I blanked on the name real fast. And he asked me to do a Courage the Cowardly Dog Halloween Horror Nights crossover. So, as always, if you guys would like to have a Patreon request done, just hit the link in the description box below. Head on over to my Patreon, hit the second tier. That'll allow you access to do so. But other than that, hope you all enjoy this, and let's get started with the video. So the story basically is that Courage, Miriam, and Eustace are just kind of chilling. Like it's just another day in the middle of nowhere, and Eustace just reading his paper. Miriam's just on her rocking chair, and Courage is just sleeping there. He's just all like chilled out and things like that. And then they're watching the TV, and the TV, Nowhere, Kansas, is getting a special announcement that a show is coming to Nowhere. Like there's a show, like something big is coming to Nowhere, and already Courage is like, ooh. So yeah, Courage is already concerned about what this could be, what it means, things like that, and he's already like freaking out. But the TV then reveals the guy behind it all. It's the caretaker, Albert Kane, and Albert Kane basically addresses the people of Nowhere. That he's like, I invite you all to face your fears on my islands of fear. Do you dare conquer your fears and become stronger for it, or do you run like cowards? Of course, Eustace is like blah blah blah. The caretaker then says on the TV, "Oh, and I forgot to mention, admission is free, and there is a grand prize for those who survive my islands." And of course, Eustace is like, "Free admission? Grand prize? What are we waiting for?" But of course, Courage is like, no. But Miriam's like, "Oh, that would be lovely. It'd be nice to get out of the house." So Eustace and Miriam go, and of course, Courage gets dragged along, and they drive out into they drive out to where the location is, and it's it looks like a massive theme park. And there's other people in the town of Nowhere, all gathered around, and they're all trying to figure out what's going on, what could be inside, what wonders are there. And of course, Courage is still freaking out because it's Courage, and that's when Albert Kane steps out and is like, "Welcome, one and all Nowhere people of Nowhere. I am Albert Kane, the caretaker, and welcome to my islands of fear. Those who survive all the islands shall be able to, will not only walk out stronger, but also have a grand prize at the end." And Eustace is like, "It better be money." "Oh, it is a grand prize indeed, old man. But step right up and enter the islands of fear." So everyone comes rushing in. Courage is trying to stop Eustace and Miriam, but he then just gets trampled by everyone. And of course, in typical Courage fashion, he's just like, just that insane laugh he does from, getting his ass stomped. So everyone goes in, and Courage immediately loses Eustace and Miriam. Of course, he's more worried about Miriam because, yeah. So he's looking around at all the islands. He's looking at all the islands of fear, and he's like, it's one big ring because this is supposed to be a islands of adventure. So he's looking around. He's looking back and forth at which island to go to, and he looks over at Heroes Under Siege Island, all the Marvel villains out, and he hears all the screaming and stuff. He's like, "No, thank you." And then he looks over at Booville, and he's like, "Ooh, my name, something's wrong here, and my name isn't Theodore Geisel," and it's not. So Courage reluctantly goes into Booville, and he's like looking around. He's all curious. He's trying to find Eustace and Miriam. He doesn't know where they are, but as he's like all through Booville, and there's like fog and like songs playing backwards, and it looks like it's like I said, a twisted Dr. Seuss land. And he's like, oh, it's creepy, but nothing scary. And that's when like twisted monster versions of the Grinch and the Cat in the Hat and other creatures like start coming out of the woodworks to scare the ever-loving bejesus out of Courage. And there are other people there like passing through Booville, but they're like as Courage and these other people from nowhere are like going through the fog, all these monster versions of Dr. Seuss characters are like sucking them into the fog and like just ripping them apart. So it's everyone running to the next island, because the whole thing is you have to complete all the islands. So Courage and whoever else makes it to the Lost Continent. And the Lost Continent is full of monsters that are monsters from different mythologies. So more people are just getting absolutely slaughtered as Courage is desperately trying to like dodge minotaurs and gorgons and things like that. He is just not having a good time throughout. So eventually he makes it to, because remember, Islands of Fear didn't have Harry Potter, so we're ignoring that. So he goes right to the next island, and the next island is Jurassic Park De-Evolution. And already, and this is where he finds Eustace, who's being attacked by a dinosaur-human hybrid. Like, he's just already getting attacked. And Courage, for a brief moment, is like, okay. So he just grabs like a tire iron, jumps behind the Dino Man, and just starts beating him senseless. He's just absolutely just going to town and beating this thing to death, beating this thing till it's just all unconscious. And he's like, stupid. Eustace is like, stupid dog, you're supposed to be here sooner. Ooga booga booga. So Courage then, Eustace and Courage run to the next island, which is Toon Lagoon, which is turned into the land of Twig and Foom. So it's all like like Twig and Foom are two entities that are like twisted cartoons, and there's bubbles everywhere, and people are getting trapped into the bubbles and like dissolving inside them. And that's when Courage and Eustace have to like dodge, duck, dodge, and evade all of these bubbles while Courage not trying to be absorbed into them. Courage even like pushes Twig and Foom into a bubble as they're like floating away, dissolving. So the last island is, of course, Marvel Superhero Island, and this is where Miriam is being kept. In here, Courage and Eustace are like looking around the island, trying to find Miriam, and that's when they find her in the grasp of Carnage. And yeah, Eustace is like, nope, I'm getting me prize. Like, there's one island left, and I'm getting me prize. So Eustace takes off to try to make it to the end of the island. But Courage stays behind as Carnage has got her in her tendrils, and he's like, ooh, I wish I read more comics. What was it that defeated symbiotes? Sonics! And that's when Courage just inhales. He just absolutely starts inhaling air all in his lungs, and immediately just lets out this massive scream that peels off the Carnage symbiote from Cletus Cassidy. And Miriam just pulls out a rolling pin and just starts whapping on Cletus till he gets knocked out. And he's like, oh, Courage, I'm glad you found me. I'd like this adventure. This is a nice vacation, but I'd rather go home now. So Miriam and Courage make their way out of the last island, and there's Albert Kane waiting for them. He's like, congratulations, you faced your fears. And Miriam's like, oh, what's our prize? Life. Oh, what a lovely prize. Come on, Courage, let's go home. Though I wonder where Eustace was. Turns out Eustace was back on Superhero Island, and he's getting tortured by the villains. And that's where the story ends. Yeah, so there you go, guys. That is Courage the Cowardly Dog, Islands of Fear. I want to thank John McKinney for this Patreon request, as well as continued patronage. And yeah, if, like I said before, if you'd like to have a Patreon request done, just hit the link in the description box below. Head on over to my Patreon, hit the second tier. That'll allow you access to do so. But other than that, hope you all enjoyed this. I'm Mr. Multiverse. I'll see you next time in the Multiverse.